My name's Luis Orozco. I am originally from El Paso, Texas. I grew up on the other side of the border in Juarez, Mexico, to Mexican parents. Came back to El Paso in high school. Did high school in El Paso, Texas, and then went to college. I wasn't a singer yet. I knew nothing about opera. I was a percussionist. So I knew I wanted a music degree, and I was going in for percussion. Um, in the middle of that, I met a wonderful teacher who convinced me to switch to voice. I ended up switching my trajectory. I knew I needed a lot more experience since I didn't grow up singing and all that. So I ended up going to the Cincinnati Conservatory of Music after that. Had a wonderful education there, and here I am, a couple of years later. There are several reasons why I think Boehm is so loved, and I think um, we can all identify with these characters. These characters seem so human. In my opinion, I love opera, and I can find the humanity in every character that I go see. But sometimes going to see the Magic Flute, it's a little bit different to identify right away with some of these characters. And Bohème is not really. It's some of these people. We've all been these people, whether you're an artist or not. We've all had these kinds of friendships. We've all had a love that we've lost for whatever reason. I think what I identify most with Bohème period are the friendships that these people develop and what it really means to them when all they have are those friendships. Omer, one of my favorite things that we're doing in this production specifically is that Omer is really focusing on really what was going on around the time. It was a post-revolution time. It was a time of hardship. It was a time of poverty, especially for artists. Um, we can say that a lot of that is going on now, and artists are having a hard time, and all around the world making a living and things like that. At the time, these guys, when they didn't have a lot, and a lot of things were happening in their surroundings that were making their lives very difficult, they had each other. And sometimes that's the beautiful thing about being an artist, that when the going gets tough, you have a wonderful community of people around you. And that's one of the things that really make this opera, I think, for artists and people outside of the arts, just very relatable. He's a multifaceted individual, and I think, he's a very sensitive person who gets his feelings hurt really easily. And at the same time, he can be a hothead whenever somebody pushes the right button. And he's just a very caring individual when it comes to the things that are important to him, like his friends. I think my favorite thing about playing him is that a lot of the times it doesn't feel like acting. It just feels like playing the situation, which makes it a lot easier. He's a very human. They're all very human characters, but Marcello especially is a very relatable. This is one of the first gigs in a while where I had never worked or knew anybody in the cast. I had met Costis, but I also never gotten the pleasure to work with Costis. The only person I knew was Omer, the director, and her and I have worked together a couple of times. We actually went to grad school together. So I've known her for forever. I love working with Omer, but it was kind of curious to come into an experience where I didn't know anybody, and it was funny, especially, I think this show really does it to people. The chemistry just built up on day one. We started cracking jokes with each other, and we've been here for a week, and now it feels like I've known these people forever. What is there to say about Santa Barbara that y'all don't know already? There is no place like Santa Barbara. It's just one of the most gorgeous places I've ever seen in my entire life. I think what makes Santa Barbara so special, and I'll try to keep this one short because I could literally go on and on. The community in Santa Barbara since day one has just embraced me with open arms. Didn't matter who was here, it's just patrons, administration, everybody has just been the most hospitable and welcoming group of people I've ever encountered. The Granada Theater, it's insane. beautiful and amazing to sing in. The company, the mission of the company is fantastic. I love working here. It's also very meaningful, I think, as artists. You know, it's not the easiest field to get into, and I think for me, Santa Barbara, along with a very small handful of places, keep this very special place in my heart, where it's like one of the first companies that gave me a shot early on. You know, so you always kind of keep one of those special places in your heart. Santa Barbara is the company that I've worked at the most. This is my 4th time, so I've enjoyed every time I was here for the console, for Italiani in Algeri, for Elisir d'Amore and now Boehm. So yeah, I love this place.